welcome to our Wednesday webinar. We appreciate you joining us. We know by this time of the day it can be hard, but you're here to learn some awesome things today with our friends at moozoom. So I am going to make sure that you get all of the time that you need to learn with them. Just a few reminders that at the end of the session in the chat, I will drop the link for the PDH if you would like to claim that PDH as an Illinois educator. You will have the ability to ask questions, and we do turn the recording off at the end during that question time because we understand that sometimes you're more comfortable asking questions if you know it's not recorded. So just those reminders, and without further ado, I am going to turn it over to Courtney and Kamal, who are going to tell you more about building healthy relationships in classroom communities.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name's Courtney. We'll give everybody another 30 seconds or so to join in. I'm here with my colleague, Kamal, and she'll be here helping out with the chat and links as well. If you would like in the chat to kind of share maybe what grade level you teach, or if you're comfortable saying where you're located, well, we give everybody about 30 more seconds or so, but I'm so grateful that you all are here and spending your afternoon with us. I know these first few weeks of school are a lot. The days feel extra long, so we really appreciate you. So there's Kamal. Wonderful. Very nice. Hi, Amanda. We're so happy you're here. And I believe it's Corinne. Hi, how are you? K-5 music, how fun. My son would love you. Awesome. Hi, Melissa. Elementary Computer Lab. Really fun. Got some cool stuff in here, guys. Very nice. Shauna, hi, how are you? I believe I'm saying it pronouncing it correctly. Thanks for being here. All right, very nice. So we'll go ahead and get started just so we don't run out of time. And just to let you guys know, getting started with this, we'll have plenty of time for questions at the end, but feel free to jot anything in the chat and we'll get to it. I do sometimes get in the zone, but we will definitely go back and go over everything. So just to start off, my name is Courtney. I currently live in Fort Collins, Colorado. We've been here for a little less than a year. I'm originally from Northern California. So I taught elementary school for 10 years. I spent about 9 in 4th grade and 1 in 3rd. And then I also taught intervention as well. I've also been with moozoom for about 6 months as their community manager, and it's been a really fun transition. Personally, I am a mom to a 1st grader. That's my son, Benjamin. And then that's our dog, Mando, who is such a troublemaker. But they are both busy right now, so hopefully no interruptions. All right, so as we get started, let's go ahead and go over our 4 goals for this presentation. So our first goal is to improve the overall wellness of students in the classroom, followed by our goal to understand the importance of building healthy relationships in the classroom setting. Next up, we want to make sure we're leaving with strategies that could be incorporated into a classroom right away. And I'm talking no prep, just like we're here tomorrow, let's try this. That's one thing I always liked. Other PDs I've been to, we want you to take away at least one thing that you can implement tomorrow. And then finally, to have an understanding of how moozoom will support your students' mindfulness and wellness in their social and emotional learning journey. And before we jump any further, I want to talk a little bit about moozoom, and we'll talk about that more in detail later. But moozoom is a free wellness and SEL program. It's also an interactive video-based platform, and it's built in a way that it's bite-sized, so it only takes about 10 minutes a day to implement, but it's also very flexible. So I know some teachers like to have all their SEL in one day or in one period, so you can be really flexible with it. There's no prep, super simple to use, very minimal training, and it's really based off kids learning from kids, which is really wonderful because I think it's more impactful. Okay, so just like we would check in with our students before starting something new or diving into a new subject, let's have a quick check-in here. So I would love to know how comfortable you are with cultivating student relationships in your classroom. So we have a 1 through 5 kind of ranking system here, and we'll put this in the chat. 1 being I need all the support I can get. 2, I have some knowledge about how to build healthy relationships in my classroom setting. 3, I'm comfortable with different strategies that would help build healthy relationships, but I would love to learn more. Followed by 4, I have a full toolbox of healthy relationship strategies, but I'm always open to more. And then 5 being our expert on building healthy relationships in the classroom setting. So I would love to see in the chat where you guys see yourself. And remember, it's a judgment-free zone. There is space for every type of learner, whether you're a 1 or a 5. The most important thing is we're all here to learn something new. All right, we see some 3 to 4s. Love that. Meaning we've got some, but always ready for some more. That's the teacher in us, right? Always ready. Oops. Always ready to learn some more. Oops. Sorry, 1 second. Apologize about that. Some more 3 to 4s. Awesome. Very nice. And feel free to keep on 4-ish. Great. Feel free to keep on dropping those in there if you'd like. I'm going to keep on chugging along. So there are going to be 3 sections of this presentation. So kind of chopping it up into 3 parts. The first one is going to be all about building healthy teacher-student relationships. So the relationship between you and your student. Then it'll be followed by building healthy peer relationships in the classroom. So the relationship between the students and themselves. And then that it'll be followed by an overview of how a free account on moozoom can be used to support relationship building, social emotional learning or SEL, and wellness in your classroom community. And they'll be divided pretty clearly. And we will get you guys this presentation at the end, just in case you would like to refer back to it. All right. So as we wrap up these welcome slides, there's something I kind of want us to think about. Let's take a minute to think about our ultimate goal as a teacher. So just like with any subject or unit, we tend to plan backwards, right? We pick our formal assessment or our project, we have the due date, and then we plan out how we'll get our students to reach that goal. It's kind of like our basic practice, how we all kind of learn to plan. Well, shouldn't we be doing this with relationships as well, not just math or computer science or whatever it may be? So I want you to take a second and I want you to think about what do you want to see at the end of the year? And this is kind of a great time to do it because we're all fresh with the beginning of the school year. So what do you want to see at the end of the school year? How do you picture your students feeling on the last day of school? Okay, and now I want you to think, like, I know I'm thinking in my head, I don't want them to be sad, but I want them to feel like really fulfilled and happy and really close. So now we need to think about those things. How will we get there? And that's kind of what that presentation or this presentation is going to lead us to. So it's not going to give us the black and white answers, but it's going to give us those strategies of building those relationships so at the end of the year, the kids are feeling great. We're feeling great. We know it was a wonderful year. And we know not every year is like that. It's not all sunshine and rainbows or puppy dogs and ice cream, as I say, but we want to just create the best kind of community and relationships possible with our students. So when they leave us, they're feeling good and we are as well. So let's go ahead and kind of get into the meat and potatoes. I'm not from the Midwest, but I like that saying. So we're going to go ahead and start talking about our 5 ways to promote healthy relationships between teachers and students. Okay, so some of these, I'm going to just pause for a second. Some of these might seem really simple, but we're really going to talk about how big of an impact they can make. And in the format of this, we're going to talk about the why they're important, followed by the how we can implement them. So first up, we're going to talk about greeting your students at the door. So why? It seems so simple, but again, it's so impactful. Greeting your students at the door when they enter the classroom really promotes a sense of belonging in that classroom or space, because we also have PE teachers and whatnot, so it's not always that basic or standard classroom setting. It also reduces students and teachers, it builds a sense of community as well and reduces students and teacher stress levels as they begin the day. I wanted to share with you, there was a recent study, it was done in 2018 of 203 students in 10 classrooms in middle school. And it suggested that greeting and welcoming students at the door actually increased achievement by 20% and it lowered disruptive behaviors by 9%. So even though it's only 9%, that's 9%, and most teachers will take it. And it was done by just this simple thing, or by using the simple greeting at the door. And that was actually published in the Journal of Positive Behavior Interventions, if you're curious. Okay, so let's talk about the how to greet students at the door. So number one, we want to make eye contact. So say the student and then followed by saying the student's name. So use a friendly nonverbal greeting like a fist bump, a high five, maybe a thumbs up, personal handshake, foot shake. Kindergartners sometimes don't wash their hands. I know a lot of teachers have kind of posters and the kiddo might point to what they would like to do. So having that nonverbal greeting and then giving a few words of encouragement. I'm so happy to see you. We're so glad you're here. And if there's time, maybe asking how their day is going or asking them like a little question, like how was your soccer game yesterday? Something simple. So let's go ahead. I'm going to grab one of your names from our participants. So let's see, Amanda, I'm going to use your name if you don't mind. So let's say, oops, sorry guys. Sorry about that. So let's say Amanda walks in the class and I'm over at my desk and I've got 600 things that I'm doing. And it's just like a busy morning, like every single morning is in a classroom. And Amanda walks in and I don't look up because I'm writing and I just say, good morning. Okay, so I'm recognizing her that she's coming in, but what if I do this instead? So what if I said, good morning, Amanda. I'm so happy to see you today, following it with a fist bump, and then maybe asking her, how are you liking the novel you're reading? So that really only took, 3 seconds? And then maybe she'll give me a 5-second answer. So 8 seconds. And it's so much more impactful than the just good morning and the hand up in the air. So those small things are really going to make your students feel welcome and wanted in the classroom. So let me see. Sometimes 8th graders don't wash their hands either. Yeah, that's actually correct. All right. So again, something so simple that can really, really make an impact. Okay, so let's go. Oh, it's so also with greeting your students, your hello or your goodbye is just as important as your hello. You want to make sure you're using their name, using a nonverbal goodbye, just like your nonverbal hello. And, it really lets them know that you care, you're looking forward to seeing them tomorrow. And maybe they had a rough day or it was a busy day. And if they get to connect with you that one more time before they leave, it can make a big difference. And again, so small, but such a big impact in the long run. Okay, so for this one, we're going to be talking about words, and words matter, and we know that. But using the correct language and tone really do matter when it comes to building relationships. We have to be very careful that we don't use triggering words or phrases because certain words, phrases, and even tones can kind of be considered unsafe, and it can cause a child to shut down. So we want to make sure we're using the correct words, and we're going to get into that in a second because it's going to help children build a positive self-perception of themselves. It creates a sense of responsibility in children, and it also builds a safe environment for students to feel welcome and supported. And before we go to the next slide, I do feel like it's important to share that every child has a different background, emotional experience, and or memories, especially when it comes to school and or their home life. So what may be fine language for some students may be deeply triggering or harmful to others. And I am always the person who I believe it's better to be safe than sorry. So let's take a look at some phrases that might be a little on the unsafe side or triggering and think about how we can make them safe. So let's go ahead and look here. So we'll do a few of these just for the sake of time, and maybe we can have you all put them in the chat. So here we have, just trying to make sure I'm staying up to date in the chat with you all. So let's talk about or show an example of attendance. So let's say Benjamin came to school and he's missed 3 or 4 days in a row. And a teacher says, wow, you've missed so much school this week. And it might not be Ben's fault. He might not have any control over why he had to stay home. We don't necessarily know everything that's going on. So instead of saying, you've missed so much school this week, especially in that tone, maybe say, I hope everything is okay. We missed you. And so they're kind of conveying the same message, but one is so much more safe and welcoming and warm than the other. So let's think about being late to school. So let's say you have a kiddo, I guess my magic number is 3 today, and they've been late for 3 days in a row. So instead of just looking at them and saying, hey, this is your third tardy in a row, what can we say that might be more on the safe side? And if anybody would like to put that in the chat, what might be a safer way to say, this is your third tardy in a row? Give everybody a second. See if we get any answers. There are lots of different options of things we can say, and it's not something that has to be very, very deep, but just we want to make sure that it's something a little different. So maybe I'm not sure if I'm delayed or we're shy, and that's okay too. You guys have had long days. Maybe instead of saying, this is your third time. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Thank you, Amanda. Amanda said, is there something I can help you with between classes? Really good. So she's inquiring, checking in, making that connection, and it's a safe space. So very nice. Thank you, Amanda. So there's also some other instances, and we'll do maybe 1 or 2 more. So missing assignments. So instead of saying you have not completed 4 out of the last 7 assignments, I'll open that up to you all. If there's maybe an idea or something that you can say that might be a little bit safer. So you have not completed 4 out of the last 7 assignments. I would love to hear from somebody, but then again, also no pressure. I know it's the end of the day. I might say something, hey, I noticed we have some assignments missing. Is there anything I can help you with? Would you like to stay after class? Okay, I'd love to check in. Okay, that can be an example of something safe, but just something that's not accusatory. So even if we're not coming up with these answers right now, it's always something to think about. So stop disrupting class. Maybe we're asking them a question. Hey, do you need to go take a break? Or hey, do you want to go take a walk or get a drink of water? And just kind of letting them know, hey, I'm checking in here with you, and not being oh, there we go. Miss Garner, thank you. How can I help you complete this work? Wonderful, simple, easy, but that meaning and like the intention behind that is so much more safe compared to kind of like the accusatory way. Awesome. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and move on. So whoops, 1 sec. So let's move on to one of my favorites. And our next thing that we can do to help build our classroom relationships between teachers and students is displaying vulnerability. So why should we be vulnerable as teachers? Well, it encourages students to be open about themselves. So when they see you being open in themselves or in yourself, then in turn, that might make them feel more comfortable about that as well. And it also pushes people to step outside of their comfort zone and then builds trust as well. Sorry, I was just checking the chat, making sure we're all up to date. So the first step to encouraging students to be vulnerable is by showing them how to be vulnerable. You really need to be their model. Show them that it's okay to be uncomfortable or goofy and open. And one phrase I really like about empathy is it's caught, not taught. And I really think vulnerability is similar. So let's go ahead and move on. So how can we display vulnerability as teachers? Because we are professionals, but we also want students to know that we're people. So we can just, it is important for them to see you as a human, not just somebody who delivers educational content. They need to know that you have feelings just like them. So some of the ways that we can display vulnerability that are kind of simple, it's just talk to your students about how you feel that day. Are you feeling a little sick? I know when I went back to work, after I had my son, there were some long nights, and I would let them know, hey guys, I'm a little tired today. Might need an extra cup of coffee. Ben was up. So that's one way. I know sometimes it can be different depending on your class environment, whether you teach elementary, high school, or middle school, but it's up to you how much you would like to share, of course. Also, I think it's really great to ask students for what you directly need. So if it's a day where you have a lot going on, you've got report cards due at the end of the week, and you need to fill out a couple things, or you need to do some reading tests individually with kiddos, let them know, hey guys, I got a lot going on right now, and we got to get this done. So if you could make sure your voices are really low, or you're doing X, Y, and Z on your own, that'd be really helpful for me. Also, be yourself and share your stories. And one of the most important things, in my opinion, is admit when you are wrong and you don't know the answer. So, with displaying vulnerability, I think I share this story every year with my students. Is when I was in fourth grade, I had Miss Beneke. She's wonderful, but fourth grade is long division, and long division and I like did not get along. And I remember the first couple days where we were doing our lessons, and I was trying so hard to focus step by step, looking at the anchor charts, listening to her, giving her full eye contact, all the things. And I just could not get it. I could not get it. And I remember like my eyes were watering and I was trying to keep it together. And then I finally raised my hand and I started crying and I said, Miss Beneke, I can't get it, or I don't get it. I can't do this. And I share that story with my fourth graders before I teach or start the long division unit every single year, because I think it's important for them to know, like, hey, some of us might not get it. Miss Wilson didn't get it, but she did eventually. And just letting them know, like, I'm a person and things are hard for me too. So that's one way I choose to share or be vulnerable in front of my students. I'm a big Brene Brown fan, if you couldn't tell by me just picking vulnerability as one of them or one of our reasons. But here's a quote from her that I really love. And it's: vulnerability is the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity. It is a source of hope, empathy, accountability, and authenticity. So if we look at all the things that she's pointed out here, they're pretty incredible. And they're all things that I personally would love to have in my classroom environment. And it really shows that vulnerability can kind of be compared to the roots of a tree and outgrows all these branches of wonderful things like belonging, love, joy, courage, empathy, creativity, accountability, authenticity. So even though it seems like it's one topic, it really encompasses a lot of things there. Okay, we're going to go over two more and then we'll do a quick 30-second stretch break because I know we've all been sitting for a while. So this is one of my favorite little strategies. So it's called the 2x10 strategy, or the 2-minute intervention. So this strategy was first introduced, and I'm going to do my very best to pronounce his name, Ray Waldowski, in 1983. And it's very, very simple. So this strategy is all about spending 2 minutes a day engaging with an at-risk student for 10 days in a row. And when we say at-risk, it's just meaning a kiddo who needs a little extra attention. Maybe they're having a hard transition. Maybe they just moved schools. It can be any number of things. But again, that's 2 minutes a day for 10 days in a row. And we're going to talk more about this, and we'll talk how we can make it realistic, because we know teachers are busy. You guys have tons of students, and a lot of you have multiple students in different classes. I get that. So especially if you're in music or computer science, I totally understand. So sometimes you're only able to see your students once a week or every couple days. I get it. So we just have to be a little bit more creative and think outside the box. So we'll get to that piece in a minute, but what we want to be covering during these 2 minutes, short, quick 2-minute conversations, we want to encourage the student to share something that's non-academic with their day or about their day or life. If they're really into a book, I think that's different. If they're really into an instrument or computer program, I think that's different. But we don't want to say or talk about like, hey, what do you think about the homework last night? Or how'd you do on the last test? Be a little bit more creative. And then also, we want to be vulnerable by sharing something personal or non-academic with that student. So why should we be doing this? Well, using this strategy can really lead to significant improvements in individual student behavior. So if you're making that time to connect with that student, you're building that relationship with that student, that could eventually lead to a more cohesive classroom climate. So let's think about how we can implement this strategy. So first of all, we want to keep our conversations focused positively. on the student's interest. If they start to go on a little bit more of like a negative route, it's always great to kind of steer them back. Oops, sorry, I moved my computer. Steer them back to that positive space. So next up, we want to be as consistent as possible. Again, I understand a lot of us have different situations, so it's really hard just to say you have to do it this one way. Sometimes we just have to be creative. Also, ask open-ended and follow-up questions. So we want them to be the ones talking. Of course, we can respond and share our thoughts, but hearing from them is our main goal here. And then it helps us get to know them. And then this one might be obvious, but continue to engage with that student after those 10 days. We don't want to just be meeting with them and then say it's over. So this works best for students who respond well to positive adult attention, who have a hard time connecting with peers, or people or kiddos who struggle with emotional regulation or social awareness and impulsive behavior. So when can we do this? So again, we have to be a little creative here. So let's think about some times to complete this 2x10 strategy. So first of all, we can do it before school, especially if you're in drop off or on morning duty or whatever duty you might have. If you're or maybe after school too, if you're out on the playground or something similar. Also walking to library or specials, cleaning up materials during an independent activity, walking to lunch, or really whenever you can. Maybe you have like a prep or something like that. You can just go take those 2 minutes. And remember, this isn't for every single student. This is for your kiddos who need that extra bond, need that extra attention. So making that extra 2 minutes making that extra 2-minute effort could really make a difference for that student. Okay, so now we're going to move on to celebrating the small moments. So we want to make learning fun. We want to make the little hills just as big as the giant mountains, so to say. So students really tend to see things as a success or as a failure. They sometimes don't recognize how important the path is, and they just kind of see the destination. And I think that goes for adults as well. I'm guilty of that too. But we want to really celebrate learning we want to celebrate learning and see the positive impact it has on our kiddos, because it really helps them with their memory and their motivation. Effective praise and positive reinforcement is really a driver behind student motivation, self-esteem, and creating that positive classroom culture. And students who are more motivated to learn persist longer and provide higher quality work or effort, which I thought was kind of interesting. Okay, so how can we celebrate the small moments? And I know it's obvious. These are things we're already doing. So if this is something you're already doing, maybe we can just add a couple things to it and make it that much like better. Or maybe you can grab one thing from this today that can help you tomorrow. So we want to be genuine. A lot of times we can fake it till we make it, but with this, we really want to be genuine. We want to be excited for our kiddos, and we want them to really feel that. We want to be specific. So give an exact example of what we're like really excited about and celebrating. Be descriptive. And then if you can, involve the whole class. So one thing that I like to do with my kids, and I grab this from actually a whole brain teaching. And again, I know not all of us teach elementary, but maybe this might work for high school kids as well. We call it a 10-finger woo, where you get your hands and you put them together and rub them. And then you do your 10-finger woo, woo, like that to the kiddos. Super simple. Some different ideas of when we can do this. Positive email, obviously not the 10-finger woo to positive emails, but different ideas of when we can celebrate the small stuff is positive emails to parents, shout out boards. We're celebrating signs. So maybe Tommy finally nailed all of his math facts, putting that up on a board, class chants, personal notes from the teacher, and then also promoting positive self-talk. You should be so proud of yourself. And then even walkout songs. So thinking about songs that you really like and enjoy, and playing those, or what the kids really like and enjoy, and playing those. So very fun. Gratitude board. Love that. Absolutely. Okay. All right. And then if you want to stand up, we're about halfway through this. We're going to go a little faster because I'm talking too much, but we're going to talk about positive peer relationships. So in the 5 ways to promote relationships between student and students. So first of all, we've got our morning meeting. So why are morning meetings important? Well, the primary goal of a morning meeting is to give students a safe environment that provides a sense of trust, allows all students to feel important, boosts empathy and teamwork, and really separates home from school. So when they walk in that door, we're in a separate space, we're at school. Also prepares students for the day's events and starts the day off on a positive note. So how can we implement these morning meetings? So if we can, we really want to set aside about 15 minutes a day, and then also sit in a space or in a way where everyone could directly see each other. I know that's not always possible inside your classroom. My best friend has 35 fifth graders in his class right now. So one of the things he does is he takes his kids outside when the weather's nice. He also lives in California, so he has a little bit more flexibility with that. But then you want to start with the greeting, complete a sharing question. I always require that the kids use full sentences. It could be a would you rather question or something silly. Then complete some sort of activity, a short video. I'm going to show you some great examples of some in a little bit, maybe meditation or goal setting, and then give the daily announcements or rundown for the day. I like to go over my visual schedule and go over anything that is going on at the school that week or day. Next up, we want students to really root for each other. So we want to make sure we're building our class community, and that way it motivates students, encourages friendships, and promotes that it's okay to help or receive a helping hand. So it really changes the way that students see each other and themselves. They see each other as more of a team, not an individual student. So how can we kind of root for each other? Positive group talk, student to student notes, create opportunities for partnerships. There's lots of fun games. I like to do I read the Legend of Rock, Paper, Scissors, and do like a rock, paper, scissors tournament at the beginning of the school year where everybody's rooting for each other just to kind of get that kind of classroom culture rocking and rolling from the start. Next up, we have student shout outs. And I think this kind of goes along with what you're saying, Stephanie, with like a gratitude board. So having somewhere where people can shout out things that or recognize each other for a job well done, empower their classmates, and it empowers themselves. It gives them that autonomy. And then also encourages students to be on the lookout for positive behavior, not negative behavior. I know we've seen the tattletale slips and they're hilarious to read, but we want those kiddos to be on the lookout for for positive behavior. This also promotes gratitude and appreciation from the kiddos who are receiving the shout out. So we can do this in the written form. So we have these shout out cards at moozoom, and we can get you guys some as well in PDF form. But we can also do it verbally. So maybe during morning meeting, or maybe we put them up on a shout out board, or you collect them in a box and read them out loud. But in the beginning, you want to make sure that you're modeling how they look. So maybe create one and do it underneath, or print one and do it underneath the projector. Like I said, reading them out loud during morning meeting, placing them on a shout out board, have them available for the kiddos to grab, but also set expectations on when it should be done, because we'll all have that one kiddo who wants to do it during the math lesson and the reading lesson and walking up in the middle of the test because they feel compelled. So setting those expectations are important. Okay, next up, we have student collaboration. That's so important. So student collaboration really develops oral communication skills, self-management, and leadership skills. It can also increase student self-esteem, teaches responsibility, and shows students different perspective, and really prepares kiddos for the real life. I remember learning that in my small communications class, or my communication small group class, when someone didn't show up and you had to be flexible. So collaboration really teaches kiddos and adults a lot about real life. So how can we introduce collaboration? If you're not already, starting collaboration right away is so important. Like those first couple weeks of school, even though they're a little wonky and wiggly and having a hard time focusing, starting it from the very beginning is so helpful. So establish ground rules or norms. So creating an anchor chart, having it up where they can see it all the time, super important. Also modeling how groups or peer discussions look like. Maybe you have them fishbowl around a group, or maybe you even take a video of what a great group looks like. Obviously, ask their permission and share it with your class later, whatever works for you guys. But you also want to incorporate some sort of self-assessment and or peer assessment for reflection. So going over, hey, how did that go? What went well? What could have you done better? What could your group have done better? But making sure they reflect. Okay. So how can we, how or what does student collaboration look like in classes? So have students sit in small groups permitting. I know everybody's class is different, furniture is different. Think pair share with a partner. Writing or math buddies. So having a different buddy for different subjects. Maybe reading or math rotations where they're working with different groups throughout the day. Book clubs are great. End of the year unit projects like posters or dioramas, whatever it may be. And then, our classic jigsaw activities where you make expert groups on different pieces and then they learn from one another. These are all some easy ways to promote collaboration. So finally, before we move into our third part, we have role playing. So role playing could really benefit our kiddos when building classroom relationships because it helps kiddos switch perspectives. It also can create lead them down a pathway to develop empathy skills. It's also fun and creative, and it appeals to different learning styles. So maybe like the more learn by doing. And also it engages students in higher order thinking, and they might be able to learn content in a deeper way by switching that perspective or actually being in it instead of just reading about it. So with role play, just like our small group work or collaboration, you want to set norms, create that poster, have those guidelines, refer to them consistently. Then you want to provide a situation or learning objective. So be very clear, provide context or background information, assign roles, and then you want to give a time limit. So making sure like, hey, don't worry, it's not going on for on and on. We only have 2 minutes to do this piece. Also create that supportive environment and let the kiddos know it's okay to be vulnerable and have time to reflect at the end. And we can use this for SEL, or we can use this for more academic skills, conflict resolution, perspective assignments, and review assignments. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to switch gears now, and we're going to talk a little bit about moozoom and how moozoom can help you in that classroom setting, building those healthy relationships. So I'm actually going to switch to another tab. Excuse me while I do this. Okay, so now we are on the moozoom video lesson page, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about moozoom after I take one quick sip of water. I apologize. I live in Colorado and it's about 95 degrees today, and I forgot to turn on the air conditioner before I started. My bad. So as I said, we're here from moozoom, and moozoom is an incredible platform. So students are using videos now more than ever to learn new skills and reinforce concepts and really develop a deeper understanding with different subjects. So when moozoom was created, we really wanted to bring this idea to social emotional learning, or SEL. So watching moozoom's videos can sometimes feel a bit more personal than reading an SEL text or social emotional learning text, because it really creates an opportunity for students to connect more deeply with the characters. So with all of this in mind, we created moozoom, which is this video platform filled with interactive social emotional learning lessons that are taught in bite-sized increments that are super flexible to your schedule. It's really one of a kind. Our lessons are interactive and they keep your students highly engaged. We feature a really diverse cast of actors, and it's really just a fun program. And it's the lessons are immersive, interesting, and we have really impactful follow-up activities. So the best is it's free. So there's no prep, very minimal training. Again, it's free. All you have to do is sign up. And I'm going to show you how moozoom can really help build those classroom relationships. So here we are in our home page, okay? And let's take a look at what moozoom has to offer. So when you do first log in, you'll notice that at the top, you have 3 kind of grade levels to choose from. So grades 2 through 4, 5 through 6, and K through 1. That's our mini Zoom. If you do sign up, you don't have to sign up for one grade level. You have access to all 3. So if you are teaching multiple classes or multiple grade levels, you're all good. Let's go ahead and stick with the grades 2 through 4. So after we have that, let's see our different themes. So you can scroll down this way and you can kind of see our pictures and everything. But today we know we're focusing on building healthy relationships. So we can kind of scroll through our themes here. Oh, clicks and gossip might be an interesting one. We've got healthy relationships, because I'm trying to think how we can tie this into our building healthy relationships in classroom. This one right here is kind of like giving me that bing, bing, bing. So let's go ahead and click it. Oh, and it was already at the top, so nothing really changed. But now we just have our building healthy relationships here. And we can see we have 4 videos here. And then in our pink, we kind of have like our concepts or like our bold ideas, what our lesson is about. So I think F for friend might be a great one for us today. So I'm going to go ahead and click it. I can see it's about self-awareness and gratitude. We have a synopsis here. And before we scroll down, let's just go ahead and take a peek. There might be a little bit of lag, but I think we can probably get the gist of the video. So we're going to take a quick look at our interactive video on moozoom. So I'm going to click preview. There we go.
What's going on? Trying to make a hole in the fence and escape? Climbing over it might be easier, you know. Mrs. Samir got mad at me. She says I wasn't paying attention in class. I was daydreaming and singing to myself like la 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 da 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 da. And I bothered the whole class. She wrote it down on my agenda. Now my parents are gonna read about it when I get home. This is the worst day of my life. Why? Because you missed the ball? That happens to me all the time. I know you're trying to make me laugh, but this is serious. When my parents sign my agenda, they're going to see that I wasn't paying attention in class. Come on, Noah. It's not that big of a deal. I hate school. Ah!
All right, so we can see we have Noah who's having that harder time, and then Noemi who is trying to support her friend. So let's see, let's go ahead and check that. Let's get inside the mind or the perspective of Noah first.
Why is this happening? My parents are gonna be so mad at me. And I promised I'd behave more than last year. Now they're gonna know I got in trouble. It's easy for Naomi to say it's no big deal. What does she care? It's just a big joke to her. She's not the one that has to go home and tell my parents about what happened. Now they're gonna think I'm not behaving in school. And then they won't let me play video games anymore. Or they might even send me to my room.
Okay, so we've heard Noah's perspective. So now let's hear his friend's perspective. Noemi.
It's really awful when you're in trouble. I totally understand why he's mad. I'm the same way when I get in trouble. Like that one time that wasn't me. Or that one time no, that wasn't me either. I guess I've never actually been in trouble. Phew. Noah's obviously feeling terrible right now. But when you only focus on the negative, it only makes things worse. And I don't know why he says he hates school. He loves school. He'd even sleep there if he could. You know, I think I better tell him about a magic potion that works for me. It's called gratitude. Watch out, Noah. I'm coming at you with some magic.
So we can see her trying to use empathy and relate to him, and maybe she's not able to necessarily exactly relate to him, but she's got some ideas. So let's go ahead and see the conclusion.
Look, I know what it's like to get in trouble. Once I was sharpening Mrs. Samir's pencils and I broke one, and I felt horrible after. That's not really the same thing, Naomi. I guess you're right. But if I did get in trouble, you know what I'd do? What? I'd try and think of all the good things that happened to me that day. Don't you have some? No, I hate today. None of it matters anyway. I'm still going to be on punishment and get lectured and never be able to leave my room ever again.
Really, think about it. I know something went right today.
You know what? Getting in trouble wasn't the only thing that happened today. There's a lot of other good stuff that happened too. That's great. Like what? Like this morning, the gym teacher told me I was really good at basketball. See? And I got my favorite seat on the bus on the way to school. And I found an old chocolate bar at the bottom of my backpack. And it wasn't even that melted. You know what? I'm really, really, really lucky. And you know why? Why? Because I have an amazing friend.
Oh, yeah?
Who's that? You. You know that.
I think you mean amazing, fabulous, and beautiful.
I only said amazing.
No, you said amazing, fabulous, and beautiful. You just weren't paying attention because you're like, la, 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 la.
All right. So if we go back, so we can see how they're working on their friendship. They're trying to meet halfway. He was showing vulnerability and showing how he was upset. She was showing empathy and really working on their relationship as classmates. So just like with any activity or video or text that your kiddos read, we really want them to make sure that they are talking about it or thinking about it afterwards. So after the student has watched the video, we want them to reflect, of course. And if you see below here, we've got two kind of different groups of activities here. We have group activities and individual activities. So we're going to start with our discussion. So if I click our discussion, and again, these are all free and come with moozoom's free account. And we're just previewing everything because we're just checking it out. You can see we've got an awesome discussion sheet right here, and it's a planning sheet for teachers. We have all of our objectives, our visual thinking exercises, which are great, and then also the discussion questions with maybe some objectives and talking points. You can do this all orally with your kids, or if you would like, you can also have them fill out this sheet here, just print it out, and then have them fill in their answers. But this is a great thing to do in morning meeting. Again, this video is perfect to put in your morning meeting. It's only 7 minutes long. Follow it up with a discussion. Let's look at the other activities. So we also have our role play activity, which we were talking about earlier. Role play is a great way for students to see other perspectives and interact with one another. So here we can see we have our player instructions. Oh, and before, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. This would be great to A, print out, B, you can project this on the screen, or kids can also see it on their student view, which we'll get to in a little bit, so they can do with the seat partner. So for our role play, we have our instructions right here. And then if we scroll down, we have the exact scenario, which we thought was really important, right? We want to make sure they're very clear on what they're doing. And then also we have some reflection. So how would you react? Think about your feelings, find the right time. So this is a great way to build perspective, empathy, and then the student relationships with their classmates by completing activities like this. Finally, we're going to move to our individual activities. See. Yeah, I like them too, Stephanie. Thank you. Next up, we have our individual activities, and these are really great as well. So we're going to do the activity preview. So if you see here, and I love this feature. So again, this is for 2nd grade through 4th grade. And I have a 1st grader, and I'm just thinking about where he will be in reading for 2nd grade. Sometimes he'll be able to identify some words. Sometimes he gets distracted or excited, and it might be a little tricky. So for our journal, what they do have is we have a little speaker, and I'm going to play it right now, and it reads the question for our kiddos. So it meets the kiddos where they're at.
Have you watched the Zoom in video? F for friend, about Noah getting in trouble for not paying attention in class and Naomi trying to be a good friend to him? Yes or no?
So then they can answer their question, and then a new question pops up. So how do you feel, or how do you think Noah felt about this situation? Then the kiddos can type in their answer, which is really wonderful. And I'm going to go back just for the sake of time because I have other things to show you. There's also a quiz that is similar. Sorry, let me move my little taskbar. Apologize. And it's very similar. So we've got, this is Zoomy, by the way. He's our mascot. And we have our question with our speaker here if we need to. So Noah hates school, true or false? Let's say false. And then Zoomy will let us know, did we get it correct or incorrect? And that also has our little speaker so it can be read to kiddos. So with that being said, let me check in with the chat. Yes, it is a really great accountability feature. I agree. Let me get back. So I'm going to just quit. We also have a Zen zone here, and the Zen zones are really great, like meditation space. We can use these for morning meeting. Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. I jumped ahead. We just got a brand new feature, which I'm so excited about, but we have now a pacing guide for every single theme. So if you click the pacing guide, and this is going to kind of tie back to our morning meeting. So here's our video, F for friend. We have all of our activities. And again, we're super flexible. You can do moozoom all in one day, or you can do one activity a day, but we have our times here. So 7 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. That's a perfect activity to implement in your morning meeting each day of the week. And we've got 5 here. So just one more little kind of planning guide to help you. I want to show you again, sorry, we have moozoom, moozoom Zen Zone, which has our morning routine, our after lunch routine, and also managing anxiety. These are all great videos to maybe play some in the morning, some after lunch and recess, but really great ways to kind of just have our kiddos feel settled, calm, safe in the classroom. So I'm going to head to our students now. And I'm going to show you my favorite feature about moozoom. So if you head to all of our, or to the My Students section, which is on the left-hand side, the toolbar, you'll be able to see all of your students here. So you can let's click Trent. So we'll be able to see all of Trent's activities that he's done, and then as well as his mood board. So this mood board here is this piece, and our mood board is a super powerful tool that really helps see how each student is doing as they log in each day and complete their daily wellness check-in. So I'm going to show you that in a minute, but the mood board really shows us any patterns and feelings and behavior. So let's go ahead and take like a quick look just for the sake of time regarding this. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as Trent. So I'm going to log in as a student. So I'm going to log out here, and then you can kind of see the student view as well. So logging in as a student, and I put in his class code, but you can also log in with Google, Clever, or ClassLink as well. I'm going to log in here. And right when Trent logs in, it says, "Hello, Trent, how do you feel today?" So let's say Trent is feeling a little anxious. And again, if we're having a hard time with reading or we need a little bit more support, we've got pictures that kind of match, which is kind of great. So kiddos can pick what picture best represents how they feel. So let's say Trent is feeling a little anxious. So he clicks anxious, and then he's going to be asked again, which emotion best represents like that anxious feeling. Are we sure it's anxious? Are you terrified? Are you nervous? Are you worried? I'm going to go ahead and let's say he felt worried today. And then I click yes, or he clicks yes. When Trent logs onto his page, the only thing that he will have access to is the video that his teacher assigned to him, which is the video we just watched, F for Friend. So Trent can go ahead and go through those activities. He's got them down here, his individual activities, as well as his group activities. And once he completes them, it will be marked as complete. So let's go ahead and now go back to our teacher page. So remember, Trent logged in as feeling anxious, right? Okay, so what I get as his teacher when he logs in as anxious is, do you guys see this little number, this little alert right here? If I click it, it gives me an alert. A student may need a little help or support. Trent feels worried. Okay. So now I know as Trent's teacher, Trent needs a little check-in. He needs a little support. He's not feeling great this morning. So I'm going to go ahead and before I go to him, I'm going to go back and look at his mood board, and I'm going to check what his last few logins were. So, oh man, he's feeling worried here, unhappy here, upset. It looks like we've kind of got a pattern the last 3 check-ins of what's going, or something's going on with Trent. So maybe I'll talk to him right away. Maybe I'll wait until recess, but it really gives me the opportunity to be proactive. And this alert can also go to your school counselor or your school principal. It's kind of however you set that up with your school. But this is a really great way to provide those interventions and provide really the extra help that Trent or another student may need. And again, it is all free on moozoom. And if you look at the chat, Kamal has put the link for moozoom as well, and I'll give that to you guys in a second. But having this opportunity to create this check-in really will help build the relationship between you and your student. Also, there's so many great versions of this kind of check-in. But one of the things that I feel like many of them lack, including some at my son's school, which they're fantastic, and I love his school so much, is they're not quite anonymous. Like they do it as they walk in. This is completely anonymous. Nobody can see it except me and the student who's doing it. So unless you have admin who has access to your class. So meaning other kiddos aren't looking at that student's check-in. So this might provide more opportunity to be honest with their check-ins. So I'm going to go ahead and head back to our presentation. And here we have a moozoom QR code. If you want to grab that QR code and look at that, we only have about 5 minutes left. So I want to give time for questions. But if you want to scan that QR code, go ahead. But we also have the link in our chat that you can grab. And then hopefully, we can get that to you guys as well in an email follow-up afterwards. So I will also be giving you guys all the resources we used for this presentation here. And yeah, that's about it.